I love recording up here. It's so nice. Background's beautiful. The audio is actually better up here than in my studio. I welcome you once again to the beautiful sunny fields of southern Germany to talk about a topic that I, as someone with a complete lack of formal education in music theory, should have no right to talk about. E-flat standard tuning. So grab a snack. I'll grab one of those shiny apples off the tree over there. And let's have a little chat about one of my favorite guitar tunings. There are two ways to look at this guitar tuning. There is the player's and the listener's perspective. Now, as a listener, the thing that I enjoy about songs that are played a half step below standard is that tiny little change can make an entire song sound different and much heavier. I really enjoy those YouTube videos like Megadeth Rust in Peace songs transposed a half step down. I love Megadeth's Rust in Peace. It's an incredible collection of music. It's some of the best thrash metal ever written. The songwriting is impeccable, but somehow transposing it a half step down just gives it that little something it's been lacking all these years. Going through my Spotify playlists before making this video, I actually realized that a lot of my favorite artists are ones that play guitar tuned to E-flat standard. There's a person walking their dog over there. They were going to come this way and just pass me, but they decided to do a big circle around me because I'm the big weirdo sitting on an empty field talking through an iPad. Artists like Slayer, Warbringer, Extreme, Yngwie Malmsteen, even a few old Cannibal Corpse tracks. They could have written and performed all of those songs in E standard, but E flat just makes it special, you know? Gives a song something that it wouldn't have otherwise. I'm sure that occasionally this is maybe only done to adjust to the vocal range of the singer, but even an E flat veteran like Yngwie had a few songs back in the day written in E standard, especially on Eclipse and Odyssey, and I just don't like those very much. But the songwriting was still impeccable back then, so drag them into Audacity, transpose them half a step down, and mwah, a masterpiece. If I were a formally educated music theory person, I would get into the whole chamber concert pitch thing, but I'm not the musical version of Tom Scott, despite how British I may sound, so I'll leave shit like that to Adam Neely. Instead, let's get into the player's perspective. Ich kann ruhig durchlaufen, alles kein Ding. I've always used 10 to 46 gauge strings. Anything heavier just was painful, and whenever I tried using anything lighter like 9s, they would either break, or whenever I'd try to do anything on the highest string, it would just floop off the side of the fretboard. So I've always loved 10s, and I remember my first time tuning down to E-flat standard with 10 gauge strings, I thought, hey, this is so much more comfortable. And ever since then, my guitars have spent about 99% of their time tuned to E-flat standard. It just feels more loose and rubbery in the best way possible. Like, I can really let loose and shred if I'm tuned half a step down, whereas every time I'm tuned to E standard, I just end up fighting the guitar and struggling to do anything with it. Could I achieve that same result in standard tuning with lighter strings? I'm sure I could create a similar sensation that way, but E standard just doesn't have the same vibe, you know? And that's a good word. Vibe. Because as I am sure you know, the vibe man himself, Jimi Hendrix, preferred to be tuned a half step down from standard. Now I don't, unlike some other people, consider Jimi Hendrix to be the pinnacle of guitar players or anything really. But you know what Jimi Hendrix could do? he could create a vibe. Could he have created that same vibe constantly tuned to E standard? I doubt it. There are also a lot of thrash metal bands even today that favor E flat standard tuning. One that comes to mind is Warbringer, an incredible and underrated thrash band. My favorite song by Warbringer is one called Firepower Kills, and it's recorded in E flat standard. I'm now going to play it for you twice on the same guitar with nothing changed but the tuning. It just sounds better, man, I don't know. There's also the matter of drop tunings. If you play in E standard, the closest drop tuning is drop D. Now, one of the bands that immediately pop into my head when I think drop D tuning is Lamb of God. However, even Lamb of God have a few songs that they instead recorded half a step down in drop C sharp. Those are my favorite Lamb of God songs by far. They just have this vibe about them, I don't know. So to summarize, the reason a lot of players prefer to tune half a step down from standard is because A, it's much easier to play that way. These days, if you choose E flat over tunings like D standard or even C standard, drop C, whatever, especially these days because that means you're kind of going back to the roots of rock and metal music rather than constantly devolving and tuning as low as human hearing possibly allows it through your 5150 special iconic with your mayonnaise guitars. It can set you apart from other artists and give you that sort of special sound that's part of what made rock and metal popular in the first place. And it can just make an entire song, an entire record even, sound so much more round, and it can make all the instruments harmonize a lot better. Plus, it's a lot more likely that your vocalist will be within their range if you're in E-flat standard tuning. I mean, look at the history of Ingvar Malmsteen's singers, all amazing singers across the board, but they all seem especially in their element in songs that are half a step below standard. And that is why E flat standard, or D sharp standard if you're weird, is my favorite non-standard tuning, or my favorite tuning full stop. In fact, just have a few more riffs and licks side by side in E flat and E standard, and you decide which one you like better. I think I'll know the answer. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, you can watch my most recent one somewhere up here. You can sub to my channel somewhere down there if you feel like it. I would be honored. All my social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok and Facebook are linked in the description. If you're watching this video within the first 5-6 days of it being released, I'm still currently doing my big 10K giveaway, so follow me on Instagram and take part in that, and I'll see ya.